Okay, what are you saying, people, and welcome back to another live stream. And before we get into this today, make sure you join me on my Telegram channel. Left link to that in the live chat and also the description below. Posting different trading setups there throughout the week, so make sure you go check that out. But like I said, guys, another live stream, going to talk you through what's happening in the charts today and see if you've got any opportunities coming our way. So first, like usual, we'll start with AUD USD. You can see with this one, we still do sort of have a bearish trend here in the market. We know for the past few weeks overall we have been moving sideways. The market is still consolidating. We potentially had a breakout last week, however it turned out to be false with the NFP coming in and pushing back to the upside there. So overall AUD/USD still sideways in my opinion, but slightly trending to the downside. As you can see, we've got these key levels here of support around 0.77 and key level of resistance 0.78. Hello John, morning, hope you're doing okay. If you want me to take a look at any different charts you're looking at, just let me know, drop it in the chat and I'll make sure I'll give you some analysis on that pair. But yeah, AUD/USD sort of trending to the downside. As you can see, we do have a trend line, I believe, there in the market, so we are rejecting that area there, and we do have these lower highs. So 1, 2, 3, potentially a fourth. If it is a fourth, then we're probably going to be rolling over to the downside back into that same 0.77 support. So overall AUD/USD slightly trending to the downside. It doesn't look like it's breaking structure just yet, so I'm going to be anticipating price to roll over to the downside unless we see price push up past this trend line and start trading above it. Then we might be seeing another push back to the resistance up there for 0.78 and then potentially higher if we go and break past that area. But only way I see AUD/USD pushing up is if we break that trend line there, get a retest, and then we can see the continuation. But if it doesn't, it might just roll back over to the downside and just continue this slight bearish trend here in this consolidation. But again, AU not really the cleanest pair in my opinion, so not really looking at too much, but potentially it could be rolling over to the downside if it doesn't break through that trend line. Next we're going to take a look at USD CAD. USD CAD, again, another pair just moving sideways. For NFP might be the one to give it that extra nudge to push it outside of this consolidation. However, it's still trading within it, so you just have to be patient really for this pair to see the actual direction. You know, from the higher time frames, price is very much still bearish, but it is coming up to that area where we could start to see a push up to retrace some of that bearish momentum that we've seen for the past few weeks now. You can see in the daily you really had a nice collapse to the downside, so naturally you do expect to see some retracement coming in, but because the market is so bearish on pretty much all the major time frames, we could easily roll over again. So I'm not trying to call the shots really with USD CAD. In my opinion, it's not really a really good pair to trade at this moment in time anyway, so I'm not trying to guess that. But we do have clear support and resistance above us, so naturally if price was to come up to this area, do expect to see some type of a bounce lower, maybe halfway at least, or if we do get a bit more lucky, then all the way to the lows there. And same thing with this area here is support. Do expect to see a bounce until we see that breakout. And again, like I said, if you do see that breakout, price can go a lot further to the downside and just continue that bearish momentum. Does break to the upside, we might be seeing potentially a bit of a counter trend move. Got resistance up there, have to watch out for, but if it breaks through that, could go a lot further. Morning. Hope you're all doing well. Thanks again for joining the live stream. And again, guys, if you want me to take a look at any different charts, let us know. Drop it down in the chat and I'll make sure I will get to it. USDJPY, this one again sort of still trending to the upside here in the 4H, so overall still kind of got bullish structure, but is a little bit choppy. We do also kind of have this channel here as well if we're looking at the wicks and the highs and lows of price here, and it looks like price has almost hit that bottom channel there, or bottom trend line of the channel. If we do go and roll over to that area, which I think we can do, but I'd like to see price push up a little bit more first, and then potentially could look to sell back down. back into that trend line, and if you do get a breakout, can potentially see price go a lot further for USDJPY, but again, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But right now, in my opinion, USDJPY looking a little bit bullish, so we might be seeing a bit more momentum to the upside of that big drop we had last week. Price might want to go and retrace some of that move first. So like I said, if it was to come up again back to this area of resistance, would be a nice place to go short, but right now I'm not really seeing much opportunity there on USDJPY. Hourly still trying to push up, coming to that resistance, could roll over again, but yeah, not really seeing much opportunity there for USDJPY. Maybe you can look to buy the dip back at that trend line, but yeah, I'm not too convinced as of yet for USDJPY. USD-CHF for this pair overall still kind of bearish. We did see a break of this daily trend line here in the market, which was indicating that we might be seeing some bullish momentum coming back into the market for USD-CHF. However, as you can see, that's quite not the case. Again, this trend line has been intact for numerous days now. Price is trying to break it so many times, and finally we did get a break, I believe last week, and then as you can see, we're rolling over to the downside. So see, either we're having a false break or price just wants to go and retest that trend line. Again, you can see how bearish we are looking. So again, I'm not too sure if this pair was quite a good convincing break, but again, could it easily just be a false break, and I wouldn't be surprised if USD-CHF was to roll back over to the downside again. So potential opportunity to go long if this is just a retest, but again, I'm not quite convinced just yet. We do kind of have a nice strong area of support there, and we can treat this as a bit of an area of a false break. So again, clear support across there, a bit of a false breakout. Maybe if we hold that area again, potentially could go long off there, anticipating the continuation from that breakout or that trend line. But yeah, I need a little bit more development there to be a bit more convinced there about that opportunity. But I think this is definitely a level to watch out for. If you were to break below it again, start holding it resistance, then I'll probably anticipate more downside for USD-CHF. But if we don't, if we hold into it, start breaking structure, then yeah, I think we could be in for some good buys there for USD-CHF. I'm going to take a look at some other USD pairs. NZD-USD favouring a move to the downside for this pair after this big drop that we had to end of the last week. We took out some nice levels of structure here, nice level of support. We took out that level, and same with this wick as well. So we're looking quite bearish here, pushing to the downside. Overall, similar to AUD-USD, as we are kind of just moving sideways. So again, clear resistance up there, clear support going through here. So overall, we are kind of just moving sideways for this pair, but we are still sort of kind of trending to the downside here. We had a nice push, pullback, push, anticipating this price action to be a pullback and see a bigger move down. So my bias is to the downside for GBP-NZD. On the 4H, price action isn't that clear. Hourly, you can see we've had that push, pullback, push, deeper pullback. So it'd be nice to see if we can come up one more time. Maybe reject that area, get a nice double top, and that could be a nice invitation to sell. NZD-USD, expect to see another dive lower, because I'm only looking to sell NZD-USD, not really interested in buys unless we were to come back here. But in that case, I would have liked to sold NZD-USD down first before taking that back up. So yeah, I'm not interested in buying it here, more interested in buying it there. But if anything, if I do see a move for NZD-USD, it is pretty much down back to around 0.71200 support, maybe even further if it can get a break. But yeah, anticipate NZD-USD rolling over to the downside. GBP-USD, another pair moving sideways. As you can see, a lot of these USD pairs having troubles finding direction here in the markets, and we're just seeing a lot of sideways momentum. Clear support and resistance here in the market for GBP-USD that will kind of trap between, which is around the 1.41 mark and the 1.42200. Right now, kind of in the middle of it. So again, not the best place to find trades here in the range. We are looking a little bit bearish here. We've pushed up, came back down. I believe that was NFP. We pushed up, came back down, pushed up again yesterday, but however that was short sustained because we're back retracing the whole move. So I'm expecting GBP-USD to continue this bearish momentum to the downside back into 1.41. You can see if I go in the 4H, we're kind of finding a little bit of resistance inside this range here, and price is failing to break it. So I'm expecting us to push down back into the support. Again, not too sure if we will get a break, but if we do, then I'm expecting price to come back to this area, this lower formation, and then maybe tap into that, and then maybe give us the bigger move to the upside potentially. But yeah, not interested in shorting this pair just yet, as where it is. Want it to retrace back to that area and then maybe look to short it back down. No, I'm not in any pair as of yet, John. Yes, I'm not shorting or longing a pair right now. Got my eyes on a few pairs to see if we can get some nice opportunity. NZD USD is one of them. GPUSD is one of them as well, but kind of already had the drop, so I want to see price will retrace first and then could partake in that move down. But right now I'm not really seeing much in the market, so no. Euro USD for this pair looking a little bit bearish as well. For this one we've had a bit of a push up, and our price is trying to push back down again, and you can see we have had a nice move back into this kind of area of supply. So it looks like we could be seeing a bit of a little bit of some strength of the US dollar if some of these pairs are on their way down, because it ends the USD, ADUSD, GPUSD looks like they could be falling. Euro USD similar as well. So for that to happen, we do need to see some strength in the US dollar. So that could be happening this morning or for the rest of the day anyway. Euro USD is coming back into some previous resistance turn support. So again, not the best place to short the pair. Again, maybe anticipate a move up first and then the move down. Again, that will be a nice place to short the pair for me, which is what I'll be looking for. But yeah, not really interested in that pair right now as of yet. So need a bit more development there for Euro USD, but I think we could be in move. We could be in for a nice move down for this pair, back down to around about this area here, 1.20600. So that's why I do see Euro USD moving to in the next few days, potentially by the end of the week, depending how strong we see the US dollar. But I do see potentially Euro USD falling to the downside unless we start breaking some structure up above. So I've got a bearish trend line there. Maybe if we break through that, I might start changing my bias. But right now, I do see more downside for Euro USD. Next, going to take a look at some of the other Euro pairs. So Euro JPY, we fell over to the downside as expected from last week. Again, we were trading around here last week, and we're expecting to see that move lower, because again, you can see those lower highs giving us a clear formation where price wants to go. So we're seeing all these lower high formations, giving us a clue that price was struggling to sustain the resistance and was probably going to break to the downside. And as you can see, we did get that really nice break to the downside there for Euro JPY. So overall, price is looking like it could be turning bearish, potentially. Again, potentially because you can see on the daily we are very, very much in a very strong uptrend. So shorting Euro JPY is just a little bit aggressive with the price action we're seeing on the higher time frames. But again, if done correctly, we could be in for a nice move lower. This is a really key level that I'm interested here for Euro JPY. If price was to come back into this level, I will be interested in some shorts here. We've had a really nice break of that previous low. We've pushed back up into this area. Well, if we do, and then potentially could be in for kind of a variation of head and shoulders. So left shoulder, big head, shoulder, and then potentially the move lower. So that is what I'm looking for there for Euro JPY. So I've got my eye on potential Euro JPY shorts if you move into here, and I can see the move down. But again, as you can see, we're about half of the way there, so not yet interested in Euro JPY. But when it does get there, and if you do turn bearish, we'll be looking to see if we can short the pair back down into these lows and potentially even further. So that's why I'll be looking for Euro JPY for the rest of the week probably. I'm not sure if it will get there today, so either tomorrow or the day after for potential shorts, or unless Euro JPY might fall without me anyway, and then I won't take part. But potentially could be seeing some nice shorts in that area, or maybe a double top round there as well. So that's what I'll be looking for for Euro JPY over the next few days. Again, some more Euro pairs, Euro NZD. This pair again, another pair that is still stuck in a bit of a range. Clear resistance there in the market. Clear resistance there in the market, and clear support there as well. So Euro NZD for me is just a little bit all over the place. Again, it's not bad to trade if we're looking just to capture the swings in the market. Trying to get into smaller moves involved in this pair will probably be a bit more difficult, just because again the behavior is just a bit random at this point. So again, clear resistance, clear support, great places to look to buy and sell until we do see that breakout. But right now Euro NZD is kind of in the middle of nowhere. We've had a really nice dump to the downside. Prices retraced most of that move, and now it's had a nice push as well. So I'm expecting Euro NZD maybe have more push to the upside and maybe push back down again. But again, not really looking to get involved in this pair, just because for me it's not very clear at all. You do have kind of like a mid-level between support and resistance, or around here. As you can see, nice resistance support there as well. So that could be like a halfway target there. So potentially if we were to push up again, that's where I expect price to come to. But like I said, Euro NZD is not very clear. Euro AUD on the other hand, that does move similar to Euro NZD, is a lot clearer for me. As you can see, we've been pushing to the upside here in the 4H. Had a really nice dump towards the end of last week. I believe that was NFP coming in there, and we actually broke through some nice area structure. So Euro AUD for me, I do see more downside for this pair, potentially at this level where price is testing now, or if we were to come back up again, which is probably what I'm preferring. If price was to come back up, test this level, then I will be looking to get a short on Euro AUD, so you can capitalize on a nice move to the downside there. So yeah, that's what I'm expecting there after that nice break of structure that we had. And also on the daily, we do have this nice area of resistance as well. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and will be turned support. So we could be getting a retest of that move there as well. So could be seeing some nice downside momentum for Euro AUD to come back and test that daily area. Then we might see some continuation back up again, or we could break through. But nonetheless, I do expect to see Euro AUD roll over this week to the downside, back into that support, and then potentially further. But like I said, I would prefer price to push back up again, back into this level, and then short it down. But it potentially could roll over from where it is. But yeah, I do see more downside for Euro AUD back down to 1.56400, that daily resistance turning support. Morning David, welcome back to the channel. Thanks again for turning up. Like always, if you want me to take a look at any pairs that you're looking at, just let me know. Drop it in the chat and I'll make sure I'll give you some analysis on that pair. Okay, some more Euro pairs. If you go on to Euro GBP. Euro GBP, again, not much clarity with this pair. We did catch a nice move to the downside last week from this resistance, or a nice push to the downside there. But again, we're coming back into very strong areas of support, and we're kind of losing a little bit of clarity there. So Euro GBP is sort of still moving to the downside. You can see we do have some nice strong areas of these lower highs. Potentially could be having another one soon for price to roll back over. If I connect these with a trend line, you can see we're almost coming into contact with that area. But again, Euro GBP is losing a little bit of steam now. It's starting to move a little bit sideways, so we might be seeing a bit more of that price action for the rest of the week, unless we see a break of that resistance or that support. So yeah, not too sure if I'll be looking to get involved with Euro GBP this week with that price action there on the daily. But if I do see a move happening, it will be to the downside, of price rolling back over, giving us another lower high, and then a push back down into that support. Whether we get a breakout, I'm not too sure, but yeah, I'm expecting price to roll back over to come and test that support there. Yeah, I'll take a look at gold. Okay, so for gold, we did take a nice dive to the downside last week, back to 1860. Very, very key level there in the market on the daily time frame. around there, very key level. We tapped into it, had a nice push to the upside as well. I do see gold rolling back over, however, to the downside this week, potentially maybe back into 1860, but at least back into 1870 area, kind of this form resistance here, nice area of demand as well. I do see gold rolling back over. We do have this trend line, I believe, here. So again, first test up there, we had that second, third. So yeah, I do see gold rolling over. It would be nice to see gold have one more push to the upside first though, maybe wick above those highs, and then I'll look to see if there's opportunity to short it. Not right now after that push already. Might be seeing some retracement to the upside now, but I'm favouring another push to the downside for gold, since we did have this big dump here, breaking through structure. Treating this bullish movement here as retrace of that move down. So I'm expecting us to eventually roll back over, back into around that 1870 area, and then if you break through that down to 1860. But yeah, I'm expecting more downside for gold. Again, like I said, it would be nice to get some retrace first, maybe get a nice double top there, and then fall over to the downside. Not really looking to short gold where it is right now. But yeah, I do see gold rolling over, and then potentially could look to get long from there, or around those areas, depending on where gold wants to go. But yeah, I do see gold rolling back over to the downside this week, but I want to see a bit more retracement first. Euro USD, yeah, sure, we'll take a look at that pair. Like I said, with Euro USD, potentially could be seeing more downside for this pair. You can see it on the 4H. We're getting this bearish structure in the market here. We have this nice push, giving us a low, lower high, lower low. Potentially could be forming a lower high, and if it does, I do expect us to roll over back down to that support there on the 4H. So again, like I said earlier, for this one, I would want to see a push to the upside first, maybe double top it, and then come back down for Euro USD and looking for shorts, because I don't really want to short the pair as it is now. It's already had a push, could look to retrace, and also coming back into that area of support, former resistance turn support. So want to see a bit of retracement to the upside first for Euro USD, and then potentially look to short it back down again. Again, we do have a nice trend line there. That price hasn't tested yet, so you might want to go do that before falling. So yeah, I want to see a bit of retracement first for USD, but I do expect to see downside this week for this pair, unless we start breaking through some levels and that trend line as well, start changing our structure, then I might change my bias. But right now I'm looking for shorts for Euro USD. So I hope that analysis helped there. Yeah, sure, we'll take a look at ADCHF. Okay, ADCHF, for this one, we've been trending to the downside for quite some time now. You can see there on the daily, so we are looking quite bearish. Going on to the 4H, we recently had a nice push to the upside, breaking through some structure here in the market. So previous resistance here, again, it didn't really sustain itself, so it was a bit of a false breakout. But it looks like we're coming back down to retest this area here. So for ADCHF, I'm seeing potential buying opportunities back into that same resistance. Whether you get a breakthrough or not, again, not too sure. Probably cross that bridge when we get to it. But yeah, I do see a nice buying opportunity there for ADCHF. Little bit of a head and shoulders there, kind of there's your shoulder, the false break, and then potentially the other shoulder, and then we could be seeing the move up. So yeah, I am favouring buys for ADCHF. Of course, not now. Probably want to see price fall a little bit more first, back down to around the 0.69300 area. So back down to around here, and then if it does turn bullish again, that would be a nice place to look to go long. Again, stop loss just below that level, and potential move back into that resistance up there. And then potentially, if you get a breakout, could look to hold on it a bit further, because it could be involved with a bit of a, not reversal, but maybe a bigger move up, a bit of a counter trend move. But yeah, seeing nice long opportunities there for ADCHF around that level, and targeting that resistance up there. So again, hope that analysis helped. No problem, David, no problem. Thank you for turning up though. Yeah, sure, I will take a look at those pairs. I'll get onto some GBP pairs actually. Okay, so GPUSD, we were looking at this one before. I said I was expecting more downside for this one. Overall, we are kind of just moving sideways. But yeah, I did say we could be experiencing more downside for GPUSD since we're having such a hard time breaking through that resistance. As you can see, we are creating lower lows here in the market as well. So you've got this wick here, creating another lower low, lower low. So potentially the market might want to roll over again to the downside and see another lower low as well past that area. And then again, I did highlight this area in the market price want to retrace to and then see a bigger move up. But again, that's a bit more of a bolder statement because that implies it will break out to the downside. But I do see that happening for GPUSD. Like I did say, would like to get short on GPUSD, but not after this move here that we just had. So probably want to see price move back up again and then move to the downside, or potentially move up to go and test that resistance up there and then look for shorting opportunities back down to that support. But yeah, looking for shorts for GPUSD, but again, it kind of happened overnight. So I wasn't involved in that move Asian session. I don't trade the Asian session. So yeah, if it was to retrace and come back again, I will look to see if we can go short on that. But right now, no opportunity for me. So overall, see more downside for GPUSD, but I'm not seeing an opportunity to get involved in that move yet. Maybe we might see one tomorrow. And if we do get one, I'll let you guys know. Appreciate that, Logan, appreciate that. And yeah, sure, no problem, man. Okay, so we're looking quite bullish here for the NAS right now here on the 4H. If I start on the daily actually, so we're still pushing up to what was, yeah, we are still pretty much in that bullish trend, and price is still trying to fight its way higher. Again, we've recently created new highs past that area there, which we had that nice consolidation, that nice drop, and we're pushing higher on. So I wouldn't be surprised if we were to see some more upside. We're coming to a very nice area of supply around here, so we might be seeing price maybe take a breather a little bit after this push and then potentially sell off a little bit, but right now it's still looking a little bit bullish for me, so I wouldn't look to short this pair right now. So I probably want to see a bit more upside back into this area of supply, which is around the 13900 area, and then potentially we could look to see a drop to the downside because of a very strong area of supply. I recently taken out some nice key levels, so I'm seeing some downside for the NAS, but overall, again, the market is still very, very bullish. But if you were to see price come back into this area, look to turn bearish, give us some nice formations, either double top or break a structure or something, could look to go short there from this area. So I'm seeing nice short potential, potentially back to this area here. Prior resistance will now turn support, so back down to the 13,740 area. So if we were to push back to the upside for one last time, change structure there, turn bearish, and then we'll look to go short back into that area. I think there could be a nice opportunity for a move down. But yeah, so that is what I'm seeing there for the Nasdaq. So I hope that analysis helps. But yeah, one more push up back into that 3900 area, and then potentially look to fall over to the downside. Yeah, we'll take a look at US 30. Okay, so let me just clear the chart for a second. Okay, so yeah, we're still trying to push our way higher for US 30, still trying to push our way to the upside. We've recently broken some structure, but it does look like we are running out of steam a little bit. Again, difficult to short because we're coming back into some support. If anything, I'd see a move higher up because we're coming back into this nice area of demand there, and we've recently had that nice push, pullback push, big dump to the downside. So I think we could potentially see price maybe not turn bearish, but maybe start to have a bigger retracement now if we were to push to the upside. So maybe a bit more retracement, one more push up, and then potentially could see a bigger push down. So that is what I'm favoring there for the US 30. But again, we'll be looking for those shorts if we do see some nice opportunities up here after that nice reaction to the downside. But yeah, expecting to see a push up first from this area here back to those highs, potentially maybe a triple top sort of thing, 1, 2, 3, and then maybe maybe a nice drop to the downside. But at this moment in time, I'm seeing potential long opportunities. Not quite yet. Probably want to see price retrace a little bit more, come back into the thick of things in this area, and then the move up. But yeah, expecting to see a move to the upside for US 30, and then nice shorting areas from up there back down again. So again, hope that analysis helped. No problem, Logan. Happy to help. Again, any other pairs you want me to take a look at, just let me know, and I'll make sure I'll give you some analysis on those pairs. Okay, so back to some Forex. Again, we're looking at some of the GBP pairs, some of the pound pairs. Again, pound JPY, I said for this week I'm expecting more downside for this pair to roll back over. Again, it would be nice to see price come back to the 154 area, and then potentially again if it wants to continue higher, because again we do have a very bullish market here on the higher time frames. I'm talking about the monthly, the weekly, and the daily. So again, difficult to short for longer periods of time. But if you were to see some nice retracement, like I highlighted earlier on, if you were to pull back into this area, could it go short and then take it back down again, back into that 154 area, and then look to go long. But right now, I'm not really interested in getting involved with JPY as it is right now. Probably want to see some retracement up first, and then look to short, or some more downside, and then look to go long from there on the low time frames. But as of yet, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere for me, so not looking to get involved for pound JPY just yet. And yeah, not too sure which one it will move first. It will move up or down first. If it moves up, we'll look to short around here. If it moves down, we'll look to go long around there. But yeah, not seeing much opportunity there for pound JPY just yet, but we could be warming up for something else. Next, let's take a look at GP CAD. GP CAD, again, this pair, another pair moving sideways, just having a mind of its own basically. Key support below us there, key resistance there. We're struggling to break through them. Recently, it does look like we had a bit of a break of this counter trend line. So if we should draw that in right now, looks like we had a bit of a break of that counter trend line just this morning. So that could be giving us the sign that price wants to fall over to the downside again, and see some more bearish momentum, potentially back down to that support there and just continue the range. But like I said, again, difficult pair to trade in my opinion. GP CAD, you can see the nature of this market is pretty much all over the shop. Best way to trade it is probably wait for price to come to these key areas, then look to short or go long. Not really too much worrying about what's happening in the middle, because again, very difficult to predict and stay on the right side of the market when you're trading in between these two levels. But looking to go long from this support or short from that resistance does make a lot more sense. So yeah, that's what I'm more leaning towards for GP CAD. So that's why I'm not too keen on getting short on something like that, because we could get, you know, a lot of irregular behavior there, maybe another pushback to that resistance, and then the fall over. So probably wait for price to come back to an area of resistance, well, that resistance in particular, and then go short or potentially go long from there. But I do see GP CAD eventually breaking out to the downside, but yeah, not looking to get involved in that pair as of yet. Yeah, I'll be looking to send some more signals, of course, if I get any, but more signals in the Telegram, so make sure you look out for that. But yeah, I will be getting some nice posts out there in the Telegram, so look out for that this week. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at GBP NZD now. So GBP NZD for this pair, again, it's a little bit, actually no, it's actually quite clear to be fair, just a little bit choppy on the choppy side of things. You can see we did have this uptrend, slight a drop in price there, and now we've got another potential uptrend as well, or we do have an uptrend in the market. So price is a lot clearer here for GBP NZD, very nice nice clean level there. If I just go back to the 4H and take this level across, you can see it is a very, very key level here in the market. Held some nice moves in the market, acting as support there. Big drop to the downside from that same area, has now come back to that same area. So I think GBP NZD could be warming up for a nice move higher potentially. You can see we are starting to look quite bullish there. So yeah, I'm expecting to see some more upside for GBP NZD because we are hanging on to that level and potentially even further. If GBP NZD becomes quite bullish, I do see GBP NZD back at these highs here, because again, like I said, I do expect to see a bit of weakness for the NZD this week, so that could help GBP NZD move higher. So NZD USD, for example, again, I said potentially a move lower for this pair because we had that big push down last week, clearing some nice levels of structure there. So showing a lot of bearish intent there. So after this big push back up, again, I'm expecting the price to come back down. Like I said before, we came down pretty much over the Asian session, so that's why I haven't got involved in that move. I was asleep. I do need to have my sleep at some point during the day, so missed that move. But if we were to retrace back up, get a nice double top there, we'll look to go short there, friends. And if that's the case, then again, we've just missed the opportunity. But yeah, I do see downside for NZD USD and AUD/USD as well. So that could help with GBP NZD pushing up, but it looks like it's holding on to this level. So yeah, I'm expecting GBP NZD to push up, back up to at least this area here of support, and then if it breaks through that resistance up there. GBP AUD, similar to GBP NZD as well. Again, start to look a little bit bullish here. We recently had a really nice drop to the downside, and you can see we've got this trend line here in the market as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4 now. So if GBP AUD wants to hold into that trend line, I do see a movement back up again after that big dump. I do expect price to retrace that some way, somehow. And if you do hold into that trend line, then yeah, I do see GBP AUD pushing up maybe halfway, 50% of the way, and then maybe falling back down. But yeah, I do see some upside for GBP AUD and GBP NZD at this moment in time. Hey Money Run, how are you doing? Hope you're having a good morning. I believe you're looking at GBP USD. And yeah, we'll take a look at that pair right now. Again, yeah, GBP USD, I'm expecting more downside for this pair. Again, it's very, very choppy, a little bit difficult to trade at this moment in time, GBP USD, but it is giving me signs that it wants to roll over to the downside back to 1.41. Whether we break it or not, I'm not too sure, but we've had a few attempts. At trying to break through 1.41 now, and I think maybe if we were to get back there again, it could be the time that GBP USD just breaks through it, because as you can see, we're actually forming lower lows here in the market. Had that low, had another lower low, another lower low. So potentially, if we do get there again, I'm potentially expecting to see a break and price move a lot further to the downside. I was looking to get short yesterday for GBP USD, but it didn't really happen until overnight, so I've actually missed that move. But yeah, I'm expecting GBP USD to roll over. I mean, what are you looking for, Money Run, for GBP USD? Are you looking to buy or looking to short? I've already missed that. And you can see on the daily as well, starting to lose some of that bullish momentum. So Does look like price might want to roll over again to the downside, because you see we've been pushing up, creating higher highs, and now we're starting to create lower highs there as well. So yeah, I do see more downside for GPUSD. Nice money run, nice. Are you in any trades at the moment for GPUSD, or you're just waiting to see if you can get an opportunity? Because it looks like we could be seeing some strength in the dollar. Because some of these USD pairs that could be moved down. Well, we'll take a look at the DXY actually. Okay, DXY overall a little bit on the messy side. We had a clear level of support here, was acting as resistance at some point as well. Price has dipped below that area, well, if I extend it a little bit, has sort of dipped below that area, but now it's starting to climb back above, and potentially could go even higher if it wants to. But yeah, I'm seeing DXY pushing up. It's not the clearest pair, but I do see upside for the DXY. Potentially, if we're lucky, back down or back up to that area there. But it looks like DXY is struggling really to get past this level here, so I'm expecting price to push up to the upside, potentially back to that area there. Might roll back over, but I'm seeing some upside for the DXY. Oh nice, 6 AM. On it like a car bonnet, I like that. Well, we are reaping the rewards, because GPUSD is looking quite bearish there. It's fallen to the downside quite well. So yeah, I'm seeing more downside back to that 1.41 and potentially even 1.4. We'll look at some of the other AD pairs now. AD CAD, this one's starting to look a little bit bearish here as well. Again, overall AD CAD has been trending to the downside quite well for the past few days. Well, not a few days, a few weeks more like. As you can see, we've been falling to the downside quite some time now. And yeah, it looks like we're potentially going to roll over again. We've recently taken out this previous high, so it does look like price is trying to turn bullish, but again, not convinced just yet. I want to see if we can roll over, maybe create another lower high, and then can get involved in the long potentially. But right now it's looking bearish, so I'm seeing more downside for AD CAD, at least maybe back down to these lows, depending how bearish we see the Aussie dollar become. But yeah, I'm seeing more downside for AD CAD, and potentially new lows. Yeah, sure, we'll take a look at ADJPY. So ADJPY, well, I'll start on the daily actually. Okay, so ADJPY, we've got this uptrend sort of, we do have an uptrend, but it is starting to run out some energy here on the daily. On the 4H, we've had this nice push to the upside back into that previous high around here. As you can see, had a nice drop, giving us the low, push back up to the previous high, so it's sort of like a bit of a double top there. With this being one top, that being the second top, falling to the downside. So with that information there, I am seeing more downside for ADJPY, another drop to the downside this week, back down to this support. That is very, very poorly drawn. Let me do that again. So back down to this support around here. If it does play out, we might see a push up, test that resistance again, and then the drop. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. But yeah, I'm seeing more downside for ADJPY. The only way I would change my bias, if we start getting above this level and start holding above it, then I'll look to change my bias. But right now, looking at that structure, we're looking quite bearish. So yeah, I'm expecting more downside for ADJPY. It's a little bit choppy on the hourly time frame, as you can see, so a little bit difficult to find a good entry there, because the price action is a little bit choppy. Maybe you could wait for a break of this area, then the retest, and then the continuation, or maybe a break of this trend line here in the market connecting these wicks, a break of that trend line, the retest, and then the continuation, just because price action is a little bit choppy, and if price does respect that trend line, it might just do this sort of thing and roll up and go and test that area anyway. So yeah, ADJPY, I'm seeing more short opportunities than long, and if ADJPY does play out, we could be trading around the 84 development there, and then potentially could look to get short for ADJPY. So I hope that analysis has helped. Again, we really looked at ADCHF, expecting more downside for this pair back into this support. Then we could maybe see some longs again. But yeah, more downside for ADCHF, and then potentially longs at around that 0.69300 area. ADNZD, this pair we've seen a nice push to the upside recently. Again, we were trading around this area, then we saw a big run to the upside back into this key level here, and price action is actually holding above it now, so that is something to take away there actually for ADNZD. I was expecting price to have a bit more of a rejection here and fall to the downside a little bit, because we are trending to the downside quite nicely. We came to a nice area of supply, key level as well. So I was expecting price to fall. However, we actually broke through that level and starting to hold it onto it as support. So ADNZD might want to have another push higher up first before coming down. It is starting to become on its last legs on this push up, so I wouldn't be surprised if you were to have a nice drop to the downside sooner or later this week. But looking at that price action there, now we're back holding above this key level. Price might want to create some new highs first before the drop. So ADNZD, again, not really looking to get involved in longs anyway. Again, this does look like a big false breakout, but yeah, not really looking to get involved in any longs right now. Want a bit more development there, and then potentially could get involved in some shorts if it does come back below this area. Give me a nice lower high, and now let's take that lower. Yeah, short, we'll take a look at EUR/USD. So EUR/USD, again, for this pair, looking for shorts for this week for EUR/USD. I said last week we had a really nice break of structure, really nice push to the downside. You can see a lot of bearish momentum coming there. I believe that was NFP breaking to the downside, taking out some key levels of structure. So we're looking quite bearish, but like I said, we want to see some retracement now for EUR/USD. Highlighted these two levels as potential areas where price would likely fall over again to the downside. So again, this being the first one, previous support term resistance, we could have just rolled to the downside there. However, I did say I'm favoring price to push up to this level and then roll over to the downside, just because here it hasn't retraced enough for me to get excited about that. I want it to retrace a little bit more before getting involved. So yeah, EUR/USD, I'm looking for shorts, but I want to see a push there, and then maybe the pullback lower, and then potentially could be seeing a move back down to this area 1.56400, which is this daily resistance here. Nice daily resistance, which will be turned support, which I'm expecting to see a retest of, because we haven't kind of retested that area. So we could be seeing that retest happening soon. But yeah, I do want to see some bearish movement first, but that pullback and then the short. So that's what I'm expecting there for EUR/AUD. Hope that analysis helped. What time frame are you buying your USD on? Because I did highlight this area of support on your USD here on the hourly time frame. As you see, support, well, resistance now acting as support. So we might be seeing a push up, but again, my bias is the downside for Euro USD. I'm only looking to short it rather than go long. Again, I'm not looking to short it now because we've already had the bulk of the move here. We're coming to some areas of demand on hourly and support as well. So I won't be looking to go short there. Again, it makes more sense to go long at this area if that's where you went long at. But like I said before, I want to see a push up back into this resistance, and then I'll look to short it back down again, back down to these lows here. but it does make sense going long here since we do have that resistance now turn support, bit of demand as well, and we also do have that bullish structure there, so we could be getting another another higher low formation, another push up. But like I said, looking at the higher time frames, looking at the 4H, we've got this bearish structure here. I wouldn't be surprised if we were to roll over to the downside, so that's what I'm looking to get short. But like, yeah, I'm not looking to get short where price is currently right now. But yeah, if the buy trade does play out, I'll probably look to get to take the profit around here, around that resistance, because price could fall back down quite aggressively since we do have this trend line here and a nice area of supply there as well. Yeah, sure, we'll take a look at that. Sorry, for some reason I can't view the chart. Is that the correct code there? Because I can't see the chart. It says the page doesn't exist. Well, I'll do some analysis on gold anyway, but yeah, so for gold I'm expecting a move lower for this pair. Like I said before, I want to see some retracement though before I do get short. We've already seen this dip to the downside again, happened overnight, so I was not involved. Again, I want to see a bit of retracement and then look to short it. But yeah, I'm expecting more downside for gold this week anyway. We've had this big drop to the downside last week, and I'm just treating this bullish structure here as retracement. Full price just to roll over to the downside, and again, two targets there, 1872, and then if you break past that, I'm looking at 1860 at that area down there. So only looking for shorts this week for gold, unless we start breaking through some structure and then creating higher highs, then I might look to change my bias. But right now, only looking for sells. But as you can see, if it drops to the 30-minute, we're already falling to the downside there. So looks like the opportunity has gone, but we'll wait to see if we do get some nice pullback there for gold. But yeah, expecting more downside. And again, on the daily chart, if I just show you this 1860 level, very key level here, as you can see, nice area of support. Again, big move to 1950. Test it again, 1950, we went there as well. So I actually am expecting gold in the next few weeks to be up at this resistance here, 1950 again, after holding this level here, 1860. So that's where I'm expecting gold to go to. So again, long term, I am bullish on gold. Expecting gold to be here in a few weeks. But yeah, I think we'll probably see a move down first before we do see that upside for gold. Yeah. Yeah, if I do get those signals, I will put them in the Telegram. But yeah, there is some nice opportunities coming up. But I have to admit, some of the pairs that I usually trade haven't been the greatest lately. A lot of consolidation. Like USD CAD, I do like USD CAD a lot, but again, you can see price action has not been great here at all. So again, haven't taken as much opportunities as I normally do on a pair like this, just because the price action is a little bit hard to trade. But again, clear resistance, clear support, we're having nice bounces from that area, but in the middle it's just a bit of bit of messiness, so not really looking to get involved too much with USD CAD until it starts to clear up. We'll look at some of the NZD pairs now. So NZD CAD, we took a look at AUD CAD there, it was looking quite bearish. NZD CAD here again still looking bearish. You can see on the daily we do still have a bearish trend. Recently we did have quite a big move to the upside from this key area support, and we've had another big push as well. Price looks like it's falling over a little bit here to the downside, so NZD CAD might be in a bit of retracement mode. But yeah, NZD CAD looking bearish and potentially could roll over back down to these lows here and maybe have another push up. But yeah, I'm only seeing downside at this moment in time here for NZD CAD. So if you do see some movement to the upside, it's likely just to be retraced for a bigger move to the downside. So yeah, not really looking to get long on NZD CAD, expecting more downside for this pair. NZD CHF, again, we're seeing that downside as well. You can see price action is already looking quite bearish on the daily. Again, price action is looking bearish there as well, forming those lower highs, lower lows. So not really looking to get long there on NZD CHF. There's a good chance we could actually go past this previous support here, get some new lows in. Because again, there's nothing saying we're not. So if you were to push to the upside again, form another lower high, again that could be a nice excuse to get short there for NZD CHF and just look to capitalize on that continuation low, because at this moment in time that's all I'm seeing for NZD CHF, more downside. NZJPY, this pair, however, unlike NZD CAD and NZD CHF, we've actually been trending to the upside. We've got a bit of a bullish trend on our hands here. So again, shorts might not be the best answer, even though we could move lower. I would like to see price move higher first and then get short. We do have a nice area of resistance here in the market, as you can see there, so potentially could get maybe a bit of a head and shoulders there, but I want to say price move down first, then come up to take that lower there. So need a lot more development there for that potential head and shoulders setup. But yeah, potentially if we do break through this trend line, we could be seeing more downside back down into that support potentially. But yeah, not really looking to get involved in that move there for NZJPY. But since we're having such a hard time pushing up, it looks like NZJPY is probably going to roll back over to the downside first and then have a bigger movement to the upside. So yeah, not seeing much opportunities right there, but if anything, I'm favouring sells over buys. CAD JPY, this pair again, I was expecting more downside here for CAD JPY. Again, we've been moving to the upside quite aggressively the past few days now. Again, we're back at this resistance here in the market. So again, this is the daily time frame. We've seen big drops to the downside from this area, so massive area of supply. And if I just keep extending this cross, you can see we've actually come back into that same area. So of course we could come up, break through it and keep going, of course. I was expecting to see at least some type of bearish reaction first before maybe we go and break through that area. And again, this is a daily time frame, so if you do see a nice bearish reaction, you know, that could last a week or two and we could really take advantage of those swings to the downside. So for CAD JPY, although we're still very bullish, I'm seeing a bigger push to the downside coming up soon. Might not even be this week, could be next week, but whenever it is, I'm looking to get part of that move. Right now, again, not really looking appealing to get short or long, in my opinion, really. We do have a really nice area of supply around a demand there. So if we were to push back into that area, could look to get long from there and then anticipate another move up. But yeah, not really looking to get involved with CAD JPY yet until it gets some more development. Maybe even to push back into this area, that could be a nice place to get short again. But yeah, not too keen on CAD JPY just yet. I want to see a bit more development in the price action and then could look to get potentially short or long depending where price wants to go first. CAD CHF, this pair again, a little bit all over the place. You can see price action is still very, very choppy here. You can see on the daily you've had this nice drop to the downside. This looks just to be retraced, so it looks like CAD CHF wants to roll over to the downside. So yeah, favouring that bigger move to the downside there, but again we've already had that drop in price, so for me to get involved I need to see a bigger move up and then let's take that down. Again, really nice area of supply around there and resistance as well, so could it get short around there if you were to push to the upside. But right now we're looking far too bearish for me to get short, so that boat is already sailed off. So I want to see some retracement and then take it back down. But yeah, CAD CHF, I'm seeing more downside for this pair and they're only looking to short it. Going to take a look at Bitcoin now, because again Bitcoin's recently took a little bit of a dive to the downside here. Again, I did say on my weekly analysis, if you haven't checked that out, make sure you go do that. That is on my channel, previous video for the week. Bitcoin again, a little bit, well not a little bit, we are still very bearish here for Bitcoin. If you look at this from a daily point of view, we've had a nice uptrend, broke through structure and then turned bearish quite aggressively, I can't speak, aggressively not too long ago. So yeah, Bitcoin, I think we could see more downside, I'm not going to lie to you, for Bitcoin. We've got that key support there, 30,000. Would not be surprised if you were to break through that level, because again, even though this is a cryptocurrency, it moves like any other financial market. Every time we have a push, we have a pullback, we have a push, we have a pullback. And if you look at the bigger scale of things, we've had this big push over the past year or so. And price does need to have retracement. Price does need to retrace before it goes on. So again, this big collapse, even though it came out of nowhere, it kind of was expected, just because that's just how markets move. We move up, then we move down, we move up, we move down. So this here, I think it's just a big retracement for Bitcoin. But again, it could move a lot lower, because if I was to get a Fibonacci on this move up, so all the way from the lows to the highs, you know, we've only just hit the 50%, so we could move lower to the 0.618 or even 0.786. So if that's the case, we do see a lot more downside for Bitcoin. But again, 50% could be enough to see price move up. But yeah, right now, going on to the 4H, more immediate time frames, you can see we've been moving to the downside. Again, we do have those lower highs there, giving us a good indication that price is just struggling to move up, to move higher, and it's going to roll over to the downside. So yeah, we have had that rollover. Probably going to see a bit of retrace now, but I do expect to see that 30,000 get hit, and then from there we might see the bigger move to the upside, move back to 40,000 after that, because it is a really nice area of support. You can see previously when we were here, we did see a big push to the upside, so it does have a lot of weight behind it if it was to move up. But yeah, Bitcoin right now still bearish for me, still giving me those lower highs. So I'm still expecting price to roll over, bit of retracement now after that kind of mini drop there. So I want to see a bit of retracement, roll over, and then the move up. But yeah, overall still looking bearish there for Bitcoin. Morning trends are currently, yeah, not in any trades at this moment in time. Yeah, I did highlight some pairs that I'm looking at. Euro JPY is one of them. I'm seeing if we can get some retracement back down to, well, back up to this area here. And I'll look to see if we can get short from there. So that is one of the pairs I'm looking at for Euro JPY. Euro USD as well, I'm waiting to see if we can get a bit of retracement to the upside first, back down to this area, or back up again to this area, that trend line, and potentially look to short it again. So I've got a couple pairs that I'm looking at for potential opportunities. Euro USD, Euro JPY, gold as well. I'm looking to see if we can get a nice shorting opportunity. It really did move lower over the night, so again I wasn't involved in that because I don't trade the Asian session, so I have missed that move, or this move anyway. But if it was to retrace, come back up again, get rejected from that same area, I will look to go short there as well. So I'm waiting on a few pairs to get involved. A lot of the pairs that I was looking to trade moved overnight, so I wasn't actually in them. So yeah, I haven't taken any trades, but yeah, got my eyes on a few pairs. What about you, Trends? Do you have any trades, or are you looking at any pairs to get involved in this week? So yeah, got my eyes on a few pairs, but overall, not seeing any good opportunities right now on the pairs that I'm looking at. So wait till you get a bit more development. Maybe could start opening up during the New York session, or maybe London session tomorrow morning. So that's what I'll be waiting for, but nothing right now for me. Again, guys, if you want me to take a look at any charts that you've got your eye on currently, just let me know, drop it down in the live chat, and I will make sure I give you some analysis on those pairs. Or if you need any trades as well, feel free to share, tell me what pair, we'll take a look at them, see what's going on. But yeah, got my eye on a few pairs. We'll see how they develop on and see if we can get some good opportunities, but so far not in any trade currently.
anywhere you go, you belong. Anywhere you say, anywhere you say, anywhere.
Okay, so we've come to the end of the live stream, so I'm going to do a quick wrap up of some of the pairs that we looked at before, see how they're gotten on, and potentially any opportunities we could see for later today or tomorrow even. So I'm going to do a quick wrap up of the live stream and then we'll look to end it after that. So on the start of GPUSD, again looking for a move to the downside for this one. We know we do have a bit of consolidation here, price is just moving sideways, so a little bit hard to trade, and again not really looking too much to get involved when price is in the middle around here. We do have a nice level up there, so I did say price was to come back up there again. We'll be looking to short the pair, see if we get a nice move to the downside, because as you can see we are making lower lows here in the market, so it is an indication that potentially price wants to move lower. But right now we've already had this push, so price is likely to retrace before continuing. So again, I want to see price up there first, and then potentially we'll look to short if we do get some nice confirmations around there. But yeah, only looking to short GPUSD. Next, going to take a look at Euro USD. So again, like this one, looking to short this pair as well. However, right now it is coming up to a very strong area of prior resistance and support. So again, similar to GPUSD, likely to see some retracement up first. Said if it was to come up here, give a nice double top, potentially could look to short it back down after that. But right now, expecting a bit of retrace and then potentially some shorts, unless we're to break through this trend line here and start creating some higher highs, and then I might change my bias. But right now Euro USD is looking a little bit bullish, so we might be seeing a bit of strength there and then some weakness after we come up to that trend line area, and if we reject it, that area of course, but we'll wait for some confirmations if we get a nice opportunity to do so. NZD USD again still looking bearish again. Like I said, for this one I'd only see downside for this one, only to short it. Right now I've already had a move to the downside, so I want to see some retracement, potentially again another double top, and then we'll look to take that lower first, or if price wants to move a little bit higher after that, we'll look to get short as well, but only looking to short NZD USD here. You can see on the 4H we are kind of moving sideways, so I'd like to see price move up a little bit higher and then potentially short from around this sort of area here, nice area of supply, and then take it down. But again, you can see it isn't really the best pair to trade at this moment in time. The price action is a little bit messy there, but again, if I was to get involved with NZD, it would be to short this pair back down to support around 0.71200. Next, going to take a look at gold. So gold only looking for shorts as well for this one. Again, we had a really bit of a push to the downside. Looks like it just pulled back though. I want to see if price can come back up to this area, reject it as well, then potentially look to short from there. Because again, looking for a move to that 1872 area, then potentially 1860, depending how bearish we can get gold. But yeah, looking to short gold for now. If we start breaking through this level, creating higher highs, breaking through that area as well, then I might change my bias. But right now, just look to short gold, so you can get a move back down to 1872. Next, going to take a look at AUD USD. So AUD USD, like NZD USD, looking to short this pair as well. Again, you can see those lower highs there in the market, 1, 2, 3, potentially 4. This one's not confirmed yet because price could still break through this and continue to the upside. In that case, I'll look to change my bias to bullish, but we are kind of moving sideways, but we are slowly trending to the downside as well. So if we do reject that trend line, which we have, but it looks like price might want to go and test it again. So if we do have another test, reject it again, we'll look to go short and anticipate price rolling back over, back down to that 0.77 support, and potentially further, depending if we can get a break. But overall, expecting more downside for AUD/USD. So we'll be looking to see if we can get that opportunity later today or tomorrow. But that is the end of the live stream, guys. I hope you all found that useful and enjoyed it. Like always, make sure you subscribe, drop a like if you found it useful. Make sure you check out my Telegram channel. Left a link to that in the description below, posting different trading setups throughout the week, and you don't be missing out on that. But thanks again for joining, guys. It does mean a lot. I'll see you on the next one. Again, doing another live stream tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. GMT. Make sure you don't miss that. But thanks again for watching, and until the next one, we'll see you guys later.
is Teresa Mendoza. I am from Mexico. I was born poor. Not that that's bad. But take it from me, I've been poor. And I've been rich. Rich is better. Believe me.